Not every child star's journey is paved with glitter and gold. Behind the spotlight lie secrets, buried deep for years, just waiting for the perfect storm to bring them crashing into the open. Sometimes it's a leaked message. Other times, a single photo or a rumor powerful enough to send shockwaves through Hollywood. When the truth finally surfaces, it doesn't just rattle the industry, it stuns fans around the world. Some of these stars spent their youth hiding behind smiles, silenced by the weight of fame. Others were forced to confront their truths when unexpected exposure left them no choice. And then there are those who lived decades behind a carefully crafted mask, terrified that being honest would end everything they worked for. These are the powerful stories of 23 Black former child actors who shook the world when they finally embraced who they truly are and courageously came out as adults. Miles Brown, from Blackish star to living his truth, and the text that changed everything. Miles Brown captured hearts as the lovable Jack Johnson on Blackish, rising to fame at just 9 years old. The hit show, airing from 2014 to today, became a cultural staple in American households, and so did Miles. Audiences watched him grow from a bright-eyed kid into a confident young man with a voice of his own. But behind the spotlight, Miles was carrying a deeply personal truth, one that would shake fans and challenge perceptions. In 2022, the world was stunned when Miles came out as gay. He shared the news in a candid interview with Out magazine, saying, "I want to live my truth." But according to a close source, the journey to that moment began with a discovery much closer to home. His mother reportedly stumbled upon a heartfelt text exchange between Miles and another young man on his phone. That message opened a door that could no longer stay closed. The public's reaction? Polarizing. While the LGBTQ+ community and many of his younger fans rallied around him with love and support, a wave of backlash followed. Some conservative viewers, particularly those who clung to his childhood image from Blackish, responded with disappointment, some even unfollowing him across social media platforms. Still, Miles didn't waver. Determined to evolve beyond the child star label, he shifted his focus to music. Today, he's making a name for himself as a DJ, performing at LGBTQ+ events across Los Angeles. For him, music isn't just sound, it's freedom. "It lets me be fully me," he said, "and share something positive with the world." Rumors have swirled about his current relationship. Some say he's dating an underground music artist, but Miles has chosen to keep those details private, protecting what matters most in a world that hasn't always been kind. Jaden Smith, the kiss that shook the world. Jaden Smith isn't just Will Smith's son, he's a symbol of a fearless generation unafraid to challenge the norm. From his breakout role as the sweet, soft-spoken child in The Pursuit of Happiness, 2006, to his action-packed turn in The Karate Kid, 2010, the world expected him to follow the classic Hollywood child star path. But Jaden had other plans. He didn't just grow up, he transformed. Redefining fashion. Redefining love. Redefining what it means to be free. Then came 2018. In the middle of a massive concert, with a microphone in hand and a smile on his face, Jaden stunned the world. "Tyler is my boyfriend," he announced. The crowd froze. Was it a joke? A publicity stunt? No one knew for sure, until photos leaked of Jaden and Tyler, the creator, sharing an intimate kiss. And just like that, Hollywood erupted. But what truly captured the public's attention wasn't just the moment, it was the Smith family's reaction. Will Smith, long admired for his strong, measured demeanor, was reportedly shocked. Supportive, yes, but surprised at the boldness of his son's declaration. Jada Pinkett Smith, on the other hand, embraced the news wholeheartedly, seeing it as a beautiful part of Jaden's journey towards self-love and truth. Later, Will would speak simply and powerfully. "Jaden is Jaden. He always does what no one expects, and I respect that." For a family known to guard their privacy, this moment cracked the veil wide open. Yet through all the noise, the opinions, the headlines, Jaden stayed true to himself. Today, he lives peacefully in Malibu, rocking gender-fluid fashion, practicing minimalist philosophy, and avoiding the spotlight unless it serves his truth. Rumors swirl about his current partner, an underground artist whose identity remains private, away from the glare of fame. But Jaden? He's not chasing approval. He's just being unapologetically, authentically, entirely Jaden. Billy Porter, the child abandoned under the spotlight. Not every star is born into applause. Not every shining light has a home waiting at the end of the show. Behind the glitz, the gowns, and the triumphant red carpet struts was once a fragile boy, Billy Porter, staring at a locked front door, fully aware he'd never be welcomed back inside. Born in Pittsburgh to a devout Christian family, Billy knew he was different by the age of 5. But in a world bound by rigid beliefs and unspoken rules, that truth became a secret he had to bury deep. He found refuge in music, in movement, in the magic of the stage, becoming everyone but himself, just to survive. At 16, a dream came true. He landed a role in Dreamgirls, one of the most iconic musicals of its era. But as the curtain fell on his performance, the real drama began. He returned home that night, only to be met with rejection that cut deeper than any review. His family had cast him out. With nothing but a small suitcase, a few clothes, and tears he refused to let fall, Billy stepped into the unknown. Homeless. Penniless. But not hopeless. He didn't crumble. He climbed. That trembling teenager became a titan, transforming pain into purpose and turning what made him different into the crown he now wears so boldly. When asked how he overcame it all, Porter simply smiles and says, "I don't need anyone's acceptance anymore. I've learned to love myself." From a boy abandoned to an icon embraced by the world, Billy Porter's journey isn't just his. It's a lighthouse for anyone who's ever felt discarded, unloved, or unseen. A reminder that the brightest lights often rise from the deepest shadows. Justice Smith, the 2-year secret romance that shook Hollywood. In an industry built on illusion, where public image is everything and secrets are currency, Justice Smith held onto one truth he couldn't share, until he finally did. For 2 years, he lived a double life. No scandals. No tabloid drama. Just a quiet, powerful love, hidden from the world. To millions, Justice was the charming star of Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, poised, polished, and picture-perfect. But behind the scenes, beyond the cameras and scripted smiles, was a man deeply in love with someone he couldn't publicly claim. His journey started humbly, as a wide-eyed teen in The Get Down. Slowly, he built a name for himself, talented, respectful, rising fast. But with success came the unspoken weight of expectation. In Hollywood, one's truth can be a career risk. And for Justice, the risk was real. Then, in 2020, during a time when the world was screaming for justice, racial justice, LGBTQ+ rights, human dignity, Justice Smith chose courage. There was no tell-all interview, no magazine exclusive. Just one photo. A quiet Instagram post with his boyfriend, actor Nicholas L. Ash. The caption? 3 simple, world-shaking words, "I love you." The internet lit up. Fans were stunned. Some celebrated him as a hero. Others doubted if his career could survive the confession. But Justice didn't care. Because after years of secret dates, hushed kisses, and hiding who he was, the truth felt like freedom. Today, he no longer hides. He walks red carpets hand in hand with Nicholas, defying norms and breaking stereotypes. His once secret love is now a public statement, bold, proud, and unapologetic. He's no longer the timid teen from yesterday. He's a man who turns silence into strength and fear into self-love. When asked about the pressure he once felt, he smiles and says, "I don't need anyone's permission to be me. I've learned to love myself." Justice Smith's story is no longer just his own. It's a light for anyone struggling to feel seen. A reminder that truth, once spoken, has the power to transform not just a career, but a life. And through it all, he didn't crumble. He rose. Jabari Banks' shocking revelation, the gay Will Smith that split the internet. When Jabari Banks was cast as the new Will in Bel-Air, Peacock's bold, modern take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he wasn't just stepping into a legendary role. He was stepping straight into controversy. Born in Philadelphia in 1998, Banks had been making waves in theater since he was 15, known for his raw talent and undeniable charisma. But when Bel-Air hit screens in 2022, it wasn't just the grittier tone or deeper storytelling that caught people off guard. It was the reimagined Will Smith, this time as a gay black teen navigating life, identity, and masculinity in a high-pressure world. In a candid 2021 Variety interview, Banks confirmed it: Will is real. And just like that, the internet erupted. Some hailed the decision as revolutionary, praising Bel-Air for reflecting a more authentic and diverse narrative. But others, especially longtime fans of the original, were furious. Accusations flew. They ruined the show. They changed the soul of the character. But behind the scenes, few knew just how close the storyline came to being erased. The show's creators had filmed alternate scenes with a straight version of Will, afraid of the backlash. But Jabari Banks? He wasn't having it. He fought to keep the script intact, believing that this version of Will was the most honest one yet. Then came the threats. Before the premiere even aired, conservative groups reportedly flooded Banks' inbox with hate-filled messages, calling the decision disgraceful. Still, he stood firm, undaunted and unapologetic. "If you can't accept a gay Will Smith," he said in an interview, "then maybe you never understood him at all." Today, Banks is still based in Philly, chasing his passion for rap, writing, and daily sunrise runs. Though the controversy still buzzes, it doesn't shake him. He remains grounded, committed to telling stories that matter, even when they make people uncomfortable. Because for Jabari Banks, authenticity isn't optional. It's the only way forward. Kenan Ldale, the handwritten letters that silenced a set and stirred a movement. Kenan Ldale didn't come out with a headline. He didn't walk onto a red carpet and make a grand announcement. No, he did something far more intimate, something that left an entire film crew stunned. Before the world knew his truth, Kenan sat down and wrote individual, handwritten letters to every single cast and crew member on the set of Love, Simon. No press release. No interviews. Just ink, paper, and pure honesty. By that time, Kenan was already a rising star. From his early days on Dance Academy to becoming Kid Flash on The Flash, he had millions of fans and was seen as the embodiment of confidence and speed. But behind that superhero image was a young man running, not through time, but from himself. It was during the filming of Love, Simon, a movie about coming out, that Kenan realized he couldn't live in the shadows any longer. So he made a decision to tell his truth, quietly, powerfully, and personally. The morning after he handed out the letters, the set was silent, until it wasn't. Tears. Words of love. The atmosphere transformed. In that moment, the production became more than just a movie. It became a family. Weeks later, Kenan shared a simple Instagram post that read, "Changed my life." The world caught up. Fans flooded him with support. The CW stood by him. And the internet lit up, not with gossip, but with gratitude. Today, Kenan has stepped away from the superhero spotlight. He spends his days painting, making music, and living peacefully in Sydney. But those letters? They're still talked about in Hollywood. Not because they were loud, but because they were real. In a world obsessed with performance, Kenan Ldale came out with nothing but a pen and his truth. And in doing so, he wrote one of the most powerful chapters in modern Hollywood history. R Hibbert, the quiet star Hollywood couldn't hide anymore. Back in 2016, the world was captivated by a quiet boy with soulful eyes in Moonlight. While other child stars chased headlines and chaos, R Hibbert did the opposite. He stayed grounded, scandal-free, and almost invisible to the spotlight. But in 2022, all of that changed with one shutter click. Paparazzi caught a tender moment between Alex and his boyfriend on the streets of Chicago. The photo spread like wildfire. And just like that, his guarded privacy, gone. True to his nature, Alex didn't rant or issue a public statement. He simply tweeted one powerful sentence, "I'm proud." The real shock? Not the fans, they embraced him. It was the silence from his own family that echoed the loudest. No cheers. No outrage. Just nothing. Today, Alex keeps a low profile in Chicago, studying film and crafting short stories for the screen. But the day he was outed remains one of the most surprising turns in child star history. He's not alone. Justice Smith, known for his role in Jurassic World, once faced a similar wave of scrutiny. When he came out amid global protests for racial justice and LGBTQ+ rights, his post shattered expectations. Fans were split. Some called it brave. Others said it was reckless. But Justice stood firm, stating, "If you can't accept a gay Will Smith, maybe you never truly understood this character." Jabari Banks, too, took his share of heat for embracing his identity. But instead of retreating, he ran toward his truth, literally. These days, he writes rap lyrics by night and jogs Philly streets by dawn, refusing to let the critics define his path. And then there's Jaden Smith, the fearless soul who turned rejection into revolution. His fashion? Genderless. His life? Minimalist. His attitude? Free. He doesn't live for acceptance, he lives for authenticity. Each of these young men faced a moment where the world tried to shrink them down to labels and silence. But none of them broke. They rose. They loved. And in doing so, they lit the way for others to follow. Because sometimes, living your truth is the most radical act of all. Jussie Smollett. From trailblazer to tabloid tragedy. He stole hearts as a child star in the Mighty Ducks back in 1992, then broke boundaries as Jamal on Empire, a bold, unapologetic voice for the LGBTQ+ community. Jussie Smollett wasn't just acting, he was making history. When he came out in real life, fans weren't shocked, they were proud. His on-screen persona had already paved the way, turning him into an icon of representation. But in 2019, everything changed. Smallett reported being the victim of a brutal hate crime. The world rallied around him, until investigators said the attack had been staged. Suddenly, the applause turned into outrage. Hollywood, once eager to champion him, split down the middle. Supporters stood by his side. Critics called it betrayal. Overnight, he went from rising star to outcast. Nearly blacklisted, Jussie disappeared from the spotlight, retreating to a quiet life in Los Angeles, focusing on music far from the cameras. Yet, the scandal still lingers like a shadow, overshadowing his legacy and turning what should have been a story of pride into one the world can't forget, for all the wrong reasons. Jeremy Pope, rejected by the church he called home. Acceptance doesn't always come from the places we hope. For years, Jeremy Pope believed his faith, his family, and his church would never abandon him. But he was wrong. A once-in-a-generation talent, Pope made Broadway history by earning 2 Tony nominations in his debut year, an almost unheard-of feat. From there, he lit up the screen in Hollywood, 2020, and delivered a gut-wrenching performance in The Inspection, 2022, solidifying his place as a rising star in art house cinema. But behind the accolades was a painful truth. For the first 5 years of his career, Pope kept his sexuality hidden, not from Hollywood, but from the world he came from. He feared not the industry, but the judgment of his family and the very church that raised him. When he finally found the courage to live his truth, the reaction was devastating. The church that once embraced him shut its doors. His family, once his safe haven, met him with silence. The sanctuary he grew up in no longer felt like home. But Pope didn't let rejection define him. Today, he lives proudly in New York, acting, creating, and even composing gospel music. Not to please those who turned away, but to reclaim the voice, the faith, and the love he was once denied. Ryan Jamal Swain, a 3-year secret that couldn't stay hidden. When Ryan Jamal Swain first stepped onto the stage at just 14, he was a young dreamer chasing a future in the spotlight. His breakout role as Damon on Pose, 2018 to 2021, made him a powerful symbol for the Black LGBTQ+ community, a character who lived boldly and unapologetically. But behind the scenes, Ryan carried a secret he thought he'd never have to share. For 3 years, he kept his relationship completely private. No hints, no slips, not even to close friends on set. He thought he could shield it forever. But secrets, as they say, have a way of surfacing. One day, a castmate noticed something. Maybe a message left open, a glance held too long, or just a quiet intuition. Word spread. And then, something unexpected happened. There was no backlash. No whispers behind his back. Only support. That moment changed everything. Ryan chose to stop hiding. He came out publicly in Paper magazine, simply stating, "Live your truth." Today, he's doing just that, studying dance, giving back through charity, and living openly in Los Angeles. No longer hiding. No longer afraid. Just fully, beautifully himself, Asanti Black. When a whisper became a storm. Asanti Black was never chasing fame. Quiet, grounded, and deeply thoughtful, he stepped into the spotlight at just 17 with When They See Us, a breakout role that revealed his gift for telling powerful stories about justice and truth. But just as his star began to rise, everything changed, not because of scandal or paparazzi, but because of a whisper. It started with a single rumor, sparked by an old classmate. Not a journalist, not an insider, just someone from his past. The claim? That Asanti was gay. No photos. No secret texts. Just words. And in today's digital world, that's all it took. Social media lit up with speculation. But instead of hiding, Asanti stood tall. On his profile, he posted just 5 words, "I love who I love." No explanations. No apologies. Just truth. Fans embraced him. But what hit hardest wasn't the rumor, it was the silence of those closest to him. Childhood friends didn't speak up, didn't defend him. They didn't condemn him either. They just disappeared. Today, Asanti is back in Maryland, focusing on his university studies and making raw, fearless documentaries. He's still telling stories, but now they're on his terms. Honest. Unfiltered. Unapologetically real. Coleman Domingo, a 10-year love story finally revealed. For most of his career, Coleman Domingo flew under the radar. Not because he lacked talent, but because he let his work speak louder than his personal life. A seasoned stage actor since the age of 16, he built his legacy on raw skill and quiet strength. But even the strongest carry secret fears. That opening up about his love life might cost him everything. For 10 long years, Coleman and his partner loved each other in complete silence. No red carpet appearances, no paparazzi snaps, not even a cryptic post on social media. They were invisible by choice, not by accident. But in 2018, that silence broke, not through scandal but through honesty. In a heartfelt interview with Out magazine, Coleman said it plainly, "I have always lived my truth." And here's the twist, the fear he had carried for a decade? It was all in his head. Instead of rejection, he was met with love. His Fear the Walking Dead cast embraced him. His fans stood by him. The roles didn't vanish. The spotlight didn't dim. The only thing that had ever truly held him back was doubt. Brandon Flynn. The paparazzi kiss that shook the internet. Brandon Flynn stole hearts worldwide as the troubled yet lovable Justin on 13 Reasons Why from 2017 to 2020. With that perfect blend of bad boy edge and raw vulnerability, he became the ultimate crush for an entire generation. But then, everything changed with a single photo. A paparazzi snapshot surfaced. Brandon caught mid-kiss with another man. The internet erupted. Some fans were heartbroken, their fantasy shattered in an instant. Others stood and cheered. And Flynn? He didn't hide. He didn't explain. He posted just one powerful sentence to Instagram. "I am gay." Reactions were mixed. Some fans struggled to accept it, while others admired his courage. But the most powerful support came from Netflix, who publicly stood by him without hesitation. Since then, Brandon has stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight, choosing instead to embrace indie films and life in New York. The noise, the backlash, the expectations, he's left it all behind. Today, he's no longer chasing approval. He's telling his stories his way. Djon Talton, the 4-year secret that shook his family. From 2009 to 2015, Glee wasn't just a hit show, it was a cultural movement. And right in the heart of it was Djon Talton. With his radiant smile and infectious energy, he lit up every scene he touched. On screen, he was joy personified. But behind that glow was a secret he kept buried deep, one he feared could change everything. For 4 long years, Djon kept his sexuality hidden. Not from Hollywood. Not from fans. But from the people who meant the most. his family, especially his mother. He never found the words to tell her. But secrets have a way of surfacing. And one day she found out, not through him, but through someone else. In an instant, the atmosphere at home shifted. There were no angry outbursts, no harsh words, just a heavy silence and a quiet distance that spoke volumes. It was a wound that didn't bleed, but it ached all the same. Time, though, has a way of healing what words cannot. Slowly, his mother found her way back to him. She began to understand, to accept, and to love, exactly as she always had, but now with open eyes. Today, Djon Talton lives boldly. He makes music, practices yoga in sunny Los Angeles, and, most importantly, he lives free. No more hiding. No more secrets. Just truth, peace, and the kind of joy that comes from finally being seen. Noah Ricketts, a private message that rocked the stage. Noah Ricketts, the Broadway standout who stole hearts as Kristoff in Frozen, 2018, was known for more than just his soaring vocals and magnetic stage presence. He was a rising star in the world of American theater. But behind the curtain, Noah guarded his personal life with quiet intensity. That all changed in an instant. A fellow cast member accidentally caught a glimpse of a private message, one that revealed Noah's relationship with his boyfriend. What should have been a fleeting moment quickly became the buzz backstage. But instead of hiding, Noah stepped into the spotlight once again, this time with truth. In 2020, he officially came out, declaring with pride, "I sing to live my truth." The reaction? Nothing short of powerful. Fans and the Broadway community embraced him, not with judgment, but with overwhelming support and admiration. Today, Noah continues to light up New York's theater scene, living more freely, more boldly, and more authentically than ever before. Shawn Ross nearly lost $1 million deal because of love. He's not just a model. He's a trailblazer, a symbol of defying beauty standards in an industry that rarely makes room for difference. Shawn first turned heads at just 14, rising to fame after appearing in Lady Gaga's iconic telephone music video. From there, he became the face of high-end fashion campaigns, walking runways that once excluded people like him. But behind the glitz and flashing cameras, Shawn carried a secret, a relationship he couldn't share. He knew the fashion world could be cruel. Afraid that coming out could cost him everything, he kept his boyfriend out of the spotlight. Then it happened. A private photo leaked, and everything hung in the balance. But instead of hiding, Shawn stepped forward. In a powerful 2018 interview with Attitude magazine, he declared, "I am gay. I am beautiful." And the world listened. Rather than facing rejection, Shawn was embraced, celebrated as a bold icon of pride and authenticity. Today, he's not just conquering catwalks, he's thriving in the film industry, living unapologetically and inspiring a new generation in Los Angeles and beyond. Isaiah Stokes, the photo that changed everything. Once hailed as a rising star, Isaiah Stokes made his on-screen debut at just 16 in the 2016 indie drama The Outsiders. With a powerful presence and a quiet magnetism, it seemed like Hollywood was his for the taking. But just as his career began to gain momentum, one unexpected moment turned his world upside down. A private photo from his past, leaked by an old friend, surfaced online. The image didn't just spark whispers among fans, it sent shockwaves through his own family. The leak forced Isaiah to come out publicly, a step he hadn't planned to take, not like that. But instead of hiding, Isaiah took control. In 2020, he posted a simple message on Instagram. No explanation needed. His fans rallied behind him. His family? They stayed silent. Today, Isaiah is in Atlanta, fully immersed in studying his craft. He's not chasing fame, he's chasing truth, purpose, and a career on his terms. Brian Michael Smith, the 5-year secret that shook Hollywood. For 5 years, Brian Michael Smith carried a truth that no one in the industry knew, not his co-stars, not the media, not even his closest collaborators. While rising to fame on the hit show 911, Lone Star, he kept one thing hidden: he was a transgender man. In 2017, instead of making a quiet announcement or issuing a press release, Smith did something bold. He came out publicly on television. It was a moment that could have ended his career. But instead of rejection, he was met with overwhelming support. Fans rallied behind him. Cast members embraced him. The industry listened. Since then, Brian has used his platform to champion social impact through film, especially in Texas, carving out his legacy not just as a brilliant actor, but as one of Hollywood's most inspiring and trailblazing transgender voices, Daryl Stevens. His truth was discovered, not told. Long before he became a groundbreaking star in Noah's Ark, the iconic 2005 series that made history in LGBTQ+ television, Daryl Stevens was living a quiet personal battle. For years, he kept his identity hidden from those closest to him. But everything changed when his mother stumbled upon a private journal. Inside, she found pages filled with emotion and a revelation about his first love. That discovery shook the foundation of their relationship. The house grew quiet, tense, and for a long time, acceptance felt far away. Then, in 2005, Daryl took control of his story. He came out publicly in The Advocate, boldly declaring, "I am proud." It was a turning point, not just for him, but for his family too. Over time, his mother found her way to understanding, and today, Daryl lives in Los Angeles, channeling his journey into writing and speaking, using his voice to inspire others to live their truth without shame. Wilson Cruz lit up the screen as a breakout star in My So-Called Life, one of the most iconic teen dramas of the 90s. But while fans fell in love with his talent, few knew the heartbreaking truth unfolding behind the scenes. At just 17 years old, Wilson found the courage to come out as gay, only to be met with rejection from the one place he should have felt safest, home. His own father kicked him out, leaving him homeless and forced to survive on his own. Balancing school and work, he fought every day just to keep going. Years later, in a moment of healing, his father apologized and sought forgiveness. Wilson not only forgave him, he turned his pain into purpose. Today, he's a passionate advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, dedicating his life to creating change and giving back through charity work in Los Angeles. And on screen, he continues to inspire new generations with his role in Star Trek: Discovery. Michael K. Williams, A Love Quietly Carried. Michael K. Williams was a master of portraying raw, layered characters, none more iconic than Omar Little from The Wire, one of the greatest crime dramas ever made. But behind the powerful performances and Emmy-worthy scenes was a personal story just as complex, and just as heartbreaking. For years, Williams kept his romantic life private, never speaking publicly about who he loved. So when news broke of his boyfriend's death, it came as a shock to those closest to him. Friends and colleagues were stunned to discover a chapter of his life he had guarded so closely. It wasn't until 2012, in an interview with Out magazine, that Williams opened his heart to the world, simply stating, "Love has no gender." In the years before his own untimely death in 2021, Michael devoted himself to his craft, working on powerful film projects in Brooklyn. He left behind more than a legacy of brilliant performances. He left a mark as a man who lived with quiet truth and undeniable courage. Caramo Brown. His family found out on national TV. To millions, Caramo Brown is the vibrant, confident heart of Queer Eye, a beacon of charisma and wisdom since 2018. But behind the scenes, his journey to self-acceptance was anything but easy. For the first 3 years of his career, Caramo kept one truth hidden from his own family: his sexuality. That secret came crashing down in 2003 when he appeared on The Real World. In a moment that would be broadcast across the country, Caramo boldly declared, "I am strong." His family, completely unaware, found out not through a heartfelt conversation, but through the glare of national television and media headlines. Shocked and unprepared, they were forced to process his truth in the public eye. But over time, love overcame fear. His family grew to understand, accept, and support him. Today, Caramo isn't just a TV host, he's a powerful voice for self-love, fatherhood, and identity. Living in Los Angeles, raising his son, he now dedicates his life to helping young people embrace who they truly are. Every actor on this list has battled fear, judgment, and the risk of losing everything. But instead of hiding, they stepped into the light, becoming symbols of strength and transformation in Hollywood. Not all were met with open arms, but every one of them proved, living your truth is always worth it. Which story moved you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to follow for more powerful and inspiring stories.